Hey folks, I'm minding my own business at Wendy's, trying to have lunch, and Lou calls me. And he goes on this explanation. So let's see if I can get him on the phone and record it. Here we go. Hey, my friend. Pleasure to meet you.
My pleasure.
I'm at my computer recording, okay? I have audio and video, so you know. But I do have a question, having just met you. I met you once before, but how is Carol implicated?
Believe it or not, Carol's implication came to me from a Superior Court judge by the name of William Holden, who used to be my next door neighbor.
Okay, so you're saying that the judges are aware of what the other judges are doing?
Yeah, I think in terms of public corruption and an abuse of power.
You got to turn up the volume.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
As loud as it goes.
Okay, how's this?
That's not loud enough.
God, what am I going to do? That's the loudest I got.
Okay, good.
Okay, the judges, from what I was told by William Holden, Judge Holden, and he would come home from work, and he would tell me, we was talking in my driveway,
Right.
and we would discuss, like how things go. He was continually upset by the way he was being treated by the Chief Court Administrator, Patrick Carroll.
Okay. Now, I've complained to him numerous times, and he can't even find my complaints.
They find it in the round file cabinet. Okay, that's what happens with all these complaints. This is absolute power corrupts absolutely. He is the kingpin in this whole thing. He empowers these judges to do what they do. Now, it gets even better because he was instrumental in forming, in 2012, the Foreclosure Benchmark Committee.
Benchmark.
No. He formed the Foreclosure BAR committee within the judicial system. It was a committee that was designed for foreclosure mill attorneys to work in conjunction with the foreclosure docket judges. So they all they would sit around together and have lunch, and they would specify what they were going to do to expedite the foreclosure process and alleviate the workload on the judicial system, which was an overburden for them. And the problem wasn't what they could do to stop any injustice. They were just interested in getting out of there and going play golf. That's all they cared about. And as a consequence, they created the Foreclosure Benchmark Committee. Chase Rogers, as Chief Justice, authorized it. Okay?
Okay.
Now, I had a meeting with a certain individual, a high government official in the executive branch. I don't want to mention his name right now, but he's a very high-level official.
Okay.
And he pointed out some very serious problems with working with and trying to understand what Patrick Carroll was doing within the judicial system. Patrick Carroll became the eyes and ears and enforcer for the foreclosure mills, specifically Hunt Liebert. Richard Liebert and Patrick Carroll became very friendly. When they established the Foreclosure Benchmark Committee, which, by the way, you can't find any evidence of it in existence right now. If you went into the judicial branch website, they buried it. They buried it because I discovered that a lot of the things that they were doing, and these judges were colluding with the foreclosure mills, and then I find out that the mills were keeping the properties that they were foreclosing on.
Okay, so how many, like, for example, you were mentioning that Epstein may have 6,000 properties.
No. He's got closer to 7,000. Almost 2 years ago, he had 6,500 out of his mouth. Okay, he told me I was in his office. I have known Epstein for close to 25 years. I knew him before he was a lawyer, and we were partners in an automotive business.
So what were the shell companies created to get around the fact that you can't own?
No, that didn't come into effect until October 1 of this year. That's Connecticut State Statute 941.
Okay, so let me Google that.
That came into existence and was signed by Governor Lamont in October.
Okay.
Okay, October 1. Okay.
I see Florida, I see Wisconsin has it, and you're saying Connecticut has it too, huh?
Yeah, it's a national epidemic.
Okay, here we go. I got it.
And you know, there's an organization that's a national organization of the foreclosure mill attorneys, and they share a lot of information. So they help each other, and whatever one part of the country does, it seems to work, then they continue doing it in the other parts of the country. It's a land grab. No matter how you look at it, it's a land grab.
So how does Carroll benefit?
How he benefits is a very interesting story. I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you. I would have to look into his finances. And the only people that can do that, being that he's the chief judge, all right? And by the way, he has more power than the chief justice, because that's another story. Chief Justice Robinson used to work for Patrick Carroll. And Patrick Carroll had a conference call with the Black and Puerto Rican caucus, and he was telling them, the members of the legislative caucus, that he totally trusted Patrick Carroll, would swear by Patrick Carroll as being a wonderful man, and that you can't see daylight between the two of them. Well, one of them is guilty in a very big way, and the other one is being very foolish to put his whole career and future on Patrick Carroll, because Patrick Carroll has done a lot of bad things. I'll give you an example. Chase Rogers, Chief Justice before Robinson, was Chief Rogers.
Hold on, Chief Rogers. Okay, I'm looking it up.
Chase Rogers was the Chief Justice in the Connecticut Supreme Court before Robinson.
Okay, I got him.
Okay, it's a her.
Oh, I got it. I see it. Judge Chase T. Rogers, retired, arbitrator, mediator.
Here's what happened. I was tipped off by this high-level government official that Patrick Carroll was filing false reports to the state legislature regarding the use and application of funds given to the state of Connecticut, which I think it was like $200 million, as part of the $25 billion national mortgage foreclosure settlement.
Okay. You mean the Wells Fargo Bank America thing, right?
I'm sorry?
You mean the Wells Fargo Bank America thing?
Oh, no, that's even bigger than that. It's like there were a bunch of banks, but they all contributed to $25 billion. And they would give them to the state legislature, but it went through the banking commission. It went through the banking department. It went from the Department of Treasury to the banking department that was supposed to provide an audit and determine if things were being done correctly. And an individual in the executive branch told me that Patrick Carroll was fudging the numbers. He was cooking the books. And he was cooking the books by saying that they were doing 90% of the foreclosures in the state of Connecticut were being mediated and modified. And in fact, it was more like maybe 2 to 3%. And then he would make a presentation to the legislature. Okay? And that's where the power comes in. Patrick Carroll was also instrumental in changing the Connecticut practice book regulation on indemnification of foreclosure mill attorneys in a foreclosure.
How could they be indemnified?
Because they did it in the practice book. They didn't do it in the state statute. They didn't pass a law. I think they did pass a law. They have immunity you are a foreclosure mill attorney, you have immunity. There was a recent case where attorney Jonathan Klein of Bridgeport, Connecticut, was representing a developer by the name of Curcio, and they went to the Connecticut Supreme Court. And
what? Hold on, Curcio, and what was the guy's name?
Jude, Curcio. Jonathan Klein is an attorney.
Jonathan Klein. Okay.
He's an attorney in Connecticut that was the attorney for the Curcio company.
Okay.
And what they did was they sued Jude Epstein. Okay, and they went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that Jude Epstein, because he was in the foreclosure business, had immunity.
Because he was in the foreclosure. Hold on. Because he was in the foreclosure business, he had immunity.
Correct. So you can't sue them in the process if they commit a crime in the process of a foreclosure. So that's completely.
That makes no sense at all.
But let me tell you something. It's called legislative immunity. Take a look at it. Okay? Look at the book. Patrick Carroll did that. He's the one that pushed that through the state legislature. Patrick Carroll controls all the Judiciary Committee and all the state senators in the Democratic Party. He has complete control. Between Patrick Carroll and Ed Marcus, they have politicized.
All right, so talk to me about Ed Marcus.
Ed Marcus is I guess he's in his 80s and he's very sick, but he is the founder and powerhouse behind the Marcus Law Firm. And he is the guy who took Walter Spader from being a legal intern to becoming a judge. He worked I knew Walter when he first started there at the law firm as an intern. He became a lawyer. He and I were relatively friendly, and he was pretty straight up with me until...
Is he from North Branford?
Yes.
Okay.
Same Walter Spader. He was a police commissioner, and that was, again, another thing that Marcus could pull together, because he controlled the Democratic Party in the state of Connecticut.
So hold on. Ed Marcus was DNC chair?
Yes. Yeah, back then. And now I think is, what is her name? It's Nancy DiNardo is in charge now. She was in charge, she retired, and I understand she came back.
Is that why you said the DiNardos?
No, Scott, no, the DiNardos, DiNardos are not part of this corruption.
Okay.
Okay, Nancy DiNardo happens to be a very honest person. But Ed Marcus is self-serving, and I'll give you an example, okay? Walter Spader was made a judge in, I believe, 2018. Maybe it might have been 2017, okay?
Okay.
He became a judge. He was working in New Haven, and the foreclosure docket in New Haven. And there's a gentleman by the name of Torr, T-O-R-R Moss, M-O-S-S.
Yeah, I know Torr Moss, yep.
Okay, well, Torr Moss's father had a house, like a multi-family house. I think it was 4-family house, smack dab in the middle of Yale's campus. So it was very valuable.
Right.
And Torr's father got very sick. And Torr moved in with his father to take care of him. And in the process of taking care of him, he asked to be involved. Now, his father had done a reverse mortgage, and he had gotten paid. And the state of Connecticut did something like what they did in... there's a movie called I Care, C-A-R-E, a lot, L-O-T, okay?
Okay.
It talks about the probate courts and the abuses in the probate court.
Okay.
Like, a probate judge can technically commit you as being incompetent and condemn you to the rest of your life in a mental hospital. Okay? They have unbelievable power. But anyway, Torr Moss's father got sick. He had a heart condition. So Torr was taking care of him. And out of the blue, there was a conservator appointed by the probate court for his father. They conserved him. When they did that, they named a lawyer to do that and represent his interests. Well, they took the money of over $100,000 in cash that was in an account, and that money got eaten up in fees, legal fees. Next, they auctioned off Tormos's father's house. Tor fought that battle. And guess who the lawyer was, the judge that was involved in that? Walter Spader and John Cardoni from New Britain.
Okay, what's Cardoni got to do with it?
Cardoni was sitting on the docket with Walter Spader in New Haven. Later, he came to the docket in Bridgeport.
Cardoni's in Bridgeport now?
No, he went back to New Britain. I tried to get him recused, and he left Bridgeport. He just said, "No way, I'm out of here." So they know that the walls are closing in.
Okay.
The feds are aware of all of this, and they're waiting for people to step up and file complaints on the DOJ website. That's what triggers their involvement in an investigation. And there is a public corruption task force in existence, but they're very quiet, and they are working. I just gave them a 70-page complaint against Jude Epstein.
Can I get it? Can I read it?
Sure.
Send it to me.
Sure, I will. I found out, Judah really got corrupted so badly that he thinks he's superhuman now because he has so much money. And the one thing that people seem to ignore is the fact that Judah, if you follow the money, you're going to find that there's a lot of properties in different company names or corporate shells that Judah Epstein owns. Benchmark is one of them, and they're a plaintiff. MTech is another, and they're a plaintiff in the foreclosure business. Judah owns...
MTEK? MTEK?
No, it's MTAC. MTAC.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Judah owns every apartment on Park Royal Apartments located at 2600 Park Avenue in Bridgeport. I think there's over 300 apartments. And he owns them all. He literally controls that place. And they were condominiums, and he turned them into rental properties. Okay?
Okay, so here we go. 2600 Park Avenue.
Yep. The first of the month, there's a woman by the name of Brenda Perez, who's employed by Judah Epstein, is there collecting rents.
Brenda Perez, okay.
Right, and there's a company, I think it's called Trademark, that is the front for the collection of these funds, these rental incomes.
Okay, so you think that's laundering?
It is laundering because he has so much cash, he has to put it to use. And I don't know now there's another...
Hold on, Trademark. I'm looking up Trademark.
Look it up in the Connecticut banking department. And let's see here. Okay, Benchmark Trading Ltd. Located at 3543 Main Street, Bridgeport, second floor. Okay, guess what? That's Jude Epstein's law office.
Okay, so here we go. Trademark. What is it? Trading what?
No, first start with Benchmark Trading Limited Ltd.
Benchmark.
That's one of the shell corporations that he uses for. He uses that for the 2600 Park Avenue to rent. You got to file an application. I have an application right in front of me from Benchmark Trading. Benchmark Municipal Tax Services is the arm that does the foreclosures. Benchmark Trading is the company that owns a lot of the properties. Okay.
So how does he get favor from the judge?
All right. Several months ago, and this is a reality that I didn't know anything about it until I.
Oh, I'm looking at the building. It has it's like a gray front with a little box above it. I've seen this building before.
It used to be a high-end condominium.
Okay.
Okay.
That's his office.
Across the street. Excuse me?
3543 Main Street. That's his office?
That's his office. And every company that he owns uses that address. And
so what's it got to do with Carter Mario?
Oh, you mean the office that's on Main Street?
Yeah.
Judah uses that as a cover. He owns the building.
Oh boy.
He He owns the building. That guy, Mario, is just, he used to be, I think he was either a tenant or he owned the building, but Jude bought it.
Okay.
Okay?
So now what do we have to say about them steering the business to themselves for fees and commissions? They're all in on it, or they're all aware of it but not doing anything about it?
No. It's a lot of law firms, including a lot of committees. I'll give you an example. On that address, Judah's office, there is a man by the name, he's an attorney by the name of Donald J. Bowers, Bowers. He is shown as being active in the state of Connecticut, listed as being active in to practice law. He has a license in Connecticut. He lives in Holden, Missouri.
What?
He doesn't live in Connecticut. He lives in Holden, Missouri. He used, if you were to track his license, it'll show that he had an office, not only in Judah Epstein's office, but also in Westport, in Southport, and a guy by the name, I think, Nicholas Schwartz, the Schwartz Law Firm. Okay?
Yeah, it says 3543 Main Street, Bridgeport, located in Fairfield County. Donald Bowers in Bridgeport.
There you go.
And then attorney serving and in Martindale and located at Martindale Hubble provides office and address. Now you're saying this guy, yeah, he has a 646 telephone number, which is where?
Missouri.
So he's not here.
He's not here. He's not here. I mean, it's physically, the key here is Judah Epstein has a tight-knit group of people that he trusts, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I introduced Bowers to Judah.
Okay.
Many years ago. And Bowers was a clerk in the Bridgeport Superior Court. He and I became friends. I used to take him flying in my airplane.
Okay.
Okay, because he was going through a bad divorce, and so we would go up in here and just fly to Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, here we go. Don Bowers, attorney, Holden, Missouri, United States. I just connected with him on LinkedIn.
There you go.
Okay, so what's the story with this guy? He was at Quinnipiac Law School.
Yeah, he was working in family court after he left the Superior Court, and he started to work as a divorce lawyer for a law firm. He was an associate for a sole practitioner. I forgot what the guy's name was. He was on Broad Street in Bridgeport.
Okay, so
Bowers then hooked up with Judah, and Bowers, after his divorce, he fell in love with becoming a cowboy, and started going to New York State and going to, the country up there and the farms and the ranches, and, became pretty good at riding horses, met a woman, married her, moved to her home state of Missouri, and, he now owns a 70-acre ranch with 10 horses.
okay.
I don't know if you know, horses are expensive. They're like $1,000 a month to
Well,
maintain them.
Well, the fact is, I mean, what we're trying to decipher here is how...
Jude Epstein is paying Bowers to front for him. Bowers showed up and tore Moss's case as the committee.
Oh, I get it.
Now you see the connection?
Yes. So in other words, they need the Bowers of the world to interact to get the housing, the contracts in place to take over the houses.
Well, it starts even deeper than that. It starts in the city attorney's office. Okay.
Okay.
It starts in the city attorney. The city attorney. Okay, let me go back. I used to know a person that was an assistant tax collector for Bridgeport. She has since retired. And one day I was complaining about the tax assessor's office. They had a guy named Bill O'Brien was the tax assessor at one point, and he was about as dirty as they come, and he was artificially picking and choosing targets. They would inflate the taxes, and they would change the taxes on seniors who had fixed incomes and who had no mortgages.
Changing the taxes on fixed income seniors to force them out.
Well, then No, then the process goes every Wednesday. Russ Liskoff, Jude Epstein, what's his name?
Russ who?
Russell Liskoff. He's an assistant city attorney for Bridgeport. And Richie DeParley, who is the chairman of the appeals commission for
City attorney, right here. City attorney. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Margaret Morton, Government Center, 999 Broad Street, Bridgeport.
Right.
The law offices of Maureen Williams, Judah Epstein, the Water Pollution, Bridgeport Police Department. It's all coming up under the same thing. Russ Liskoff, city attorney.
Yeah, because he's an assistant city attorney. He was supposed to be retired.
Okay. How old is he?
He had been with the city for like close to 30 years. And they brought him back on a part-time basis. Why? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I was talking to a reporter by the name of David Altameri. At the time, he worked for the Hartford Courant. He was the reporter that discovered Governor Rowland's misdeeds and exposed Governor Rowland. As a result, Chris Maddy was able to prosecute Governor Rowland.
Investigative reporter for the Connecticut Mirror.
He is now with the Connecticut Mirror. Right?
Yeah.
And his wife still works for the Connecticut, the Hartford Courant. He works for the Connecticut Mirror.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the wife's name?
Excuse me?
What's the wife's name?
Daniela Altameri. She is a reporter. She's a straight up, both of them are straight up reporters. They got nothing to do with this corruption. They're always trying to find things. Okay.
Oh, Hartford Courant. Okay.
In a conversation with David Altameri, where I was briefing him on what I had discovered it happened about maybe 3 years ago. I said, David, are you familiar with Russell Liskoff? I said, I really think this guy's involved with these people. And he said, well, I said, can you look him up in the Secretary of State's registry, if he shows up as having any interest? He put me on hold, came back to me. He goes, Lou, you're not going to believe this. He said, I have Russell Liskoff owning 43 real estate holding companies.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. 43 real estate
holding companies under the Secretary of State's register for companies.
Oh, that could be like individual properties, but
no. Well, they could be, but 43. But get this: you would think that he would have his home address or a business address. Guess where they're registered? City Attorney's Office in the city of Bridgeport.
Excuse me?
City Attorney's Office in the city of Bridgeport.
That's the address?
That was the address at the time. Yeah, I think they have since started to bury those companies, and you won't find anything under Russ Liskoff's name. But you can ask the Secretary of State to look at the archives, and you'll find all that information there.
He listed the city's offices as the
domicile or home for all these 43 real estate holding companies.
Okay, so where are we going with this?
Russ Liskoff is the bag man. There's no other way to put it.
He's the bag man. Russell D. Liskoff, Esquire, Bridgeport, Connecticut, 999 Broad Street. This is the guy that Epstein has holding the bag.
I believe, yeah, Epstein used to.
And this is the guy that lives in.
He lives in Trumbull.
Oh.
I think there may be an apartment in Park Royal with his name on it. Okay? I'm not quite sure.
Okay, so how do you tie this entire mess together?
Okay, I guess it's through Jude Epstein. He's the kingpin. Jude Epstein, all the other people that are involved in the foreclosure racket are tied in through Patrick Carroll. The foreclosure bench bar committee incriminates Patrick Carroll. Oh, by the way, I found out that Patrick Carroll used to get a report, a letter, like an audit letter, for the Department of the Treasury from none other than something called the State Judicial Institute out of Virginia. Okay, State Judicial Institute. It's an organization comprised of the 50 Supreme Court justices in every state. For every state, they have one Supreme Court justice, and she was the head of it, and it was Chase Rogers. So the audit letter came from the Judicial Institute, which was run by Chase Rogers. Okay, she actually had dual jobs. She was the chairperson of the Connecticut judicial system, and she was.
Hold on. Okay, so the chair of the Judiciary of Connecticut.
Right, the judicial department. She was the CEO. Patrick
Right.
Carroll was the COO.
And then Patrick Carroll was COO.
Right.
And what happens is, through this foreclosure mill, they stand to make the fees, and ultimately have everyone under them running the mill.
Yeah, the money, the fees are incidental. The legal fees are incidental. There is an attorney in I believe he's in Bridgeport, James Ruane, who sued Patrick.
How do you spell that?
R-U-A-N-E, I think. Hang on a second, I'll tell you.
James
Ruane, yeah.
Okay.
And he literally sued Patrick Carroll.
And what happened?
They, hang on a minute.
Oh, here, Ruane Attorneys at Law.
Where does it show is that?
It shows 84 West Park Place, Stamford, Connecticut.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Jim Ruane is
Award-winning Connecticut DUI criminal attorney.
He is all the above, and he's an excellent attorney. And he sued Patrick Carroll.
Wow.
And I believe, Jim, let me see here.
You think he settled?
Yes, they settled.
Okay, so he got a couple mil and he walked.
No. He's not dirty. This guy, they settled with his client, okay?
Oh, okay.
He didn't just...
Oh, he wasn't the plaintiff. He was handling it for a client.
Yeah, he was representing the plaintiff.
Okay.
Now, he's...
he's from... he lives... His office is in Shelton now. James Ruane.
Right.
Blog, support staff, attorneys, Christina Anna Roman and Ashley Barnash.
Well, I don't know. Those are associates, you know.
Okay, Jay Ruane, Teresa McNarty, Daniel Lake, Brittany Paz, Jill Ruane, Melissa Davies, Dennis Mancini.
I don't know any of those people. I only know of Jim Ruane, only because I called him at one point when I saw that he was suing Patrick Carroll.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So he and apparently, from what I'm told, is they settled. But Patrick Carroll, and I have a copy of that lawsuit. I'll forward to you.
Excellent. Would you? That'd be awesome.
Sure. Yeah, I got that. And
I wonder what he sued him for.
Excuse me?
I wonder what he sued him for.
It had to do with a client, and he was also involved in another case where the guy paid off his tax liens, and he wanted the tax liens to be voided and to be given to him. You know, in other words, they're not active; they're useless. And Epstein refused, and you know, that's just one of the examples. Epstein Ruane got involved also with an attorney out of New York called Tessa, Tessa, Joe Tessa. He sued Patrick Carroll as well. He got involved in a case called Weldon versus MTAC.
Hold on. Weldon
Yeah.
versus
MTAC.
MTEC.
Right, MTech, yeah. And it was a class action lawsuit in the federal docket before Judge Janet Hall. I have a copy of that lawsuit as well.
And what happened there?
Well, it was quite a different. His client Weldon wanted to get back the canceled acknowledgement that he had paid off his debt.
Right.
And they refused to do it. And,
So, but they were paid, and they acknowledged it, and then they refused to wipe it out.
Correct.
So that means it could still be reinforced later.
Exactly. They never let go of a document because they think they can go back to you. So anyway, when Rowan could tell you better than me, but I know that at the MTAC case there was a couple of interesting things. Judge Hall dismissed the class action because the client did not have he paid off his debt, and she said that was pretty adequate. But she made a point. She made a ruling. Get this. She made a ruling that the state statute 12-195F, which is the assignment clause that they use to assign these tax liens to the foreclosure mills, okay, were illegal. She said that a tax lien is not a debt.
No, it's not.
Because it's a sovereign obligation by a sovereign entity, okay? And you can't assign sovereignty to a third-party collection agency, okay? And that's
So how could they give him immunity if it was a third-party agency?
Well, that's the point. They give them immunity because they enforce it, and the Supreme Court in the case with Jonathan Klein. You should contact Jonathan Klein. He'll give you an earful. And they claimed immunity, and they got away with it. And the Supreme Court denied Jonathan Klein's case. They dismissed it.
They dismissed the case.
They dismissed the case. And you may want to talk to the Curcios as well, because I think they have an office in Stratford. They have offices in Bridgeport. They're in the bail bond business, but they're dabbling in real estate and wanted to put up some housing in Stratford, and it was blocked politically.
Okay, so what can be said about Jonathan Klein and the Curcios?
Jonathan Klein, he's an honest, decent attorney who tried to fight Jude Epstein, and he was stopped cold in his tracks by the Supreme Court.
So in other words, the Supreme Court and who's ever on it.
Don't make broad statements, John. You got to be careful there. Because
I'm understanding that. I'm reading about Jonathan Klein. You know.
Guys, they don't. They're not. I'm not advocating that this is a Republican-Democrat thing. This is
Right.
not the issue.
Right.
The issue is that the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is beholden to Patrick Carroll, who is his boss. Because the Chief Justice is the CEO of the judicial system. Patrick Carroll is the COO.
Okay. Well, if the whole state's corrupt, then you got to admit that the CEO, a COO, Patrick Carroll, and has control over the Chief Justice.
Absolutely.
And the Chief Justice is...
I'll give you an example.
Okay, the Chief Justice's name is what? I forgot.
Robinson.
Oh, yeah, Robinson. I have him. That was the first person we looked up.
Okay?
Yeah, Richard A. Robinson.
Yeah. He used to be... I believe Robinson worked for Beloit when he was in mayor in Stamford.
Yeah, that's where Provader and Robinson worked for Malloy with Larrabee.
Okay, well, they all became judges, and he was pushed up the system by Malloy to become an appellate court judge and later to become Chief Justice. He was also one of 5 judges.
Yeah, here he is, Bench Bar Foreclosure Committee, 2007 to 2014. Legislative Committee, 2013. Chairperson of the Advisory Committee, Chairperson of the Rules Committee, Connecticut Bar Association.
Yep.
The most influential black in Connecticut, he's called.
He is a puppet for Patrick Carroll.
Yeah.
All right? And the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus members who sat in on a conference call with him can tell you that. Because he was bragging about to them how he loves Patrick Carroll, how Patrick Carroll is his right arm and he can't do anything without Patrick Carroll.
Okay, so how does it prove they're corrupt?
You got to look at the cases, okay?
Yeah.
One of the things that we recognize...
In other words, they'll deny a jury, they'll dismiss a motion.
Oh, man, everything. Patrick Carroll makes a phone call, or he talks to these judges online when they're doing a short calendar. We used to watch the judges allow the Liebert law firm, used to be Hunt, Chester, Liebert, and Jacobson.
Right, Hunt Liebert, yeah.
Okay, well, I got to be very friendly with Sam Chester, and he got cancer, and Richard Liebert kicked him off kicked him out of the firm.
Okay.
And Sam was bitter, and he used to talk to me all the time, tell me what was going on inside the Liebert law firm, because he still had people there.
Okay, so they can decide who they're going to make rich.
You can be careful with your generalizations, okay? Because I don't know, you're not going to say just because they knew these people they automatically got rich. Because what they've done is they set up real estate investment trusts. For example, Holler and Sage is a big player in the foreclosure docket now. Holler and Sage has a guy named Brian Rich who has screwed over so many people, including a man who owned a house in Greenwich that was worth $10 million. And had no debt and no note, okay? And Brian Rich managed to screw him out of his house. And by the way, he was a big supporter of Trump's. So you figure that out. I couldn't believe that this guy got away with the things that he's been doing. Brian Rich is about as dirty as they come.
Well, Halloran and Sage, Biff Halloran was a made man in the Gambino crime family. If you Google Biff...
I don't know that.
Yeah, hold on, I know him. I knew him. Biff Halloran was a partner in a lot of the hedge funds in Connecticut in the 80s. Biff Halloran was accused of price-fixing cement at two of his cement mixing facilities in Manhattan, and he disappeared.
But he was an attorney.
No, his brother Ed is the attorney. Biff was the money managing guy.
Oh, I didn't know.
His brother runs Halloran and Sage with Biff's money. Ed runs the firm. Biff's the money.
I know. There's a guy named what is his name? The managing partner is a guy named, I think, McGregor or McCarthy or something like that. And he's the senior managing partner. And he retired. And Brian Rich, I found out yesterday, Brian Rich tried to get the other members of the firm to elect him managing partner. And they kicked him out. They said, no, we don't want you for that. Okay?
Okay, but he still works there.
Yeah, but this guy ought to be in jail. The things he's done, oh my God. You know, fraudulent documents. There's a case. So the guy, I'm going to put you in touch with the guy out of Greenwich who lost the house. He moved to Florida. He was pretty well off. He was very big on Wall Street, and he had he and Lee Iacocca, he arranged the financing for Lee Iacocca to buy Chrysler back. So this guy was pretty wealthy.
Wow.
And he moved, and he's got a lot of stories to tell you. But Brian Rich did some incredible things to him, and nobody listened. I mean, up to the Connecticut Appellate Court and the Second Circuit Court.
So they got so much power they could just pull all the strings they need.
They have, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let me go back to Jude Epstein. Okay, I'm gonna segue back to Jude Epstein.
Please do.
Judah has a man that worked for him. I believe he may or may not still be working for him, by the name of Danny Ventura. I knew Danny when he first went to work for Judah. You know, Judah opened up his first office on Clinton Avenue, in a house with Lee Samovitz, and they shared an office. And then Judah started really making a lot of money because he started representing condo associations, and a lot of members of the condo associations and the well-to-do, for example, Park Royal, they were members of Judah's father's synagogue, who was a rabbi. So Judah got into the condo associations that way, and he built up a big practice. And then what happens is, when a condo association sues an owner for back common charges, they can't keep the condo. They have to sell it. Well, guess who was buying them? Judah. He would buy a condo for $5,000, okay, for taxes or common charges. Later on, he and Russ Liskoff got together, and they created a monster in the city attorney's office where all the business for the city attorney's office in collecting delinquent taxes or WPCA fees, fines, went through Jude Epstein. He was the sole party law firm that did that. And that's a two-man law firm. It was Judah and Danny Ventura. And then he had a couple of paralegals, which are really not paralegals. They were people that handled the money. They were taking all the rents that were coming in. They were the bank. Unbelievable. I mean,
So hold on a second. Ventura is a law office in Norwalk too. Ventura. Is that the same?
No, it's not. Danny Ventura only works for Judah Epstein.
Okay, because the DNC chair of Norwalk runs Ventura law firm.
I don't know who they are. It may be a relative for all I know, but it's not Danny Ventura that I know. Danny Ventura was a young kid who worked for Judah Epstein for 20 years. And he was basically the inside guy, and he coordinated with Russ Liskoff. Listen, Russ Liskoff.
I'm looking at LinkedIn on Dan Ventura right here. COO, passion for organizational development, operations management, and people leadership. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem.
Exactly. Danny was an Israeli that came to Connecticut as a young kid. Judah hired him as like a clerk. And eventually, when he moved to Main Street, Danny was he's the life's blood. If I were a Fed, I'd be interrogating Danny Ventura. He knows everything. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he apparently had a falling out with Judah because Judah's making millions, and I don't think Danny was making that much, but I do know that Danny lives in a $700,000 house in Easton, okay? And,
right.
Which he bought for, I think, $310,000. He may have bought it out of a foreclosure through Judah. That's something that I don't know. I do know that those were the numbers when he first acquired it. The next thing I know is the thing is worth $715,000.
Right.
And okay, so you can look up the Eastern land records.
I see. He looks like a nice kid.
He isn't a bad kid, but he married a girl that loved him dearly, and he finally found the right person for himself, and he got married, and they had a child, and when they had this baby, his whole life changed, and he couldn't risk going to jail, which is where Judah's going to wind up. Okay?
Yeah.
And so Danny didn't want to be a part of it. I think that he may not be working for him now, but he is a wealth of knowledge, and if the feds have half a brain, they would be talking to Danny Ventura in an investigation. And by the way, just so that you know, there is a bankruptcy court chief judge by the name of Ann Nevins.
Hold on. Ann Nevins.
She used to be, her father was a federal judge. And I believe her father or uncle was a federal judge. And
here we go. Nevins to be elevated to federal court chief bankruptcy judge.
Right. In October, she became a chief bankruptcy judge. She replaced Judge Manning. Now, Judge Nevins was acting attorney general not Attorney General.
Nevins to be evaluated for federal court chief bankruptcy judge, October 1.
Right. She used to be the acting U.S. Attorney for Connecticut. She created the...
Oh, Nevins. Yeah, she ran... Hold on. Nevins ran after...
Manning.
After Manning, yeah.
Yeah. But listen carefully. The key, I'm trying to make a point to you. She created the Public Corruption Task Force for the state of Connecticut when she was acting U.S. Attorney for Connecticut. She's had billboards on the highway saying that they're investigating public corruption. Okay?
Right. But what's been resolved? Nothing, right?
Nothing. No. I don't know. There's a Jennifer Wagner is an FBI agent that was instrumental in arresting the chief of police in Bridgeport and the head of the city of Bridgeport.
Hold on. Yeah, I remember this. Hold on. Jennifer Wagner?
Yes, she's the FBI agent that drove that investigation in public corruption.
So why haven't they gone after Norwalk's mayor in Stamford?
I have no idea.
Because they're much worse than those guys were.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, let me put it this way. She was very, she was able to arrest the chief of police in Bridgeport, and she's still looking into public corruption in Bridgeport. All right, so, I mean, her eyes and ears are everywhere.
Nevins to be, okay, let's see. Ann Nevins will become chief bankruptcy judge. Well, now that she's chief bankruptcy judge, she's no longer any special investigator of anything.
Yeah, but in her court, people are going to her court, the bankruptcy court, to seek refuge and against public corruption, because these people like Jude Epstein has an immense amount of power in the bankruptcy court as well. Okay? Keep in mind, if you're rich, super powerful with money is power. And you can go up to a clerk in any court and pay them off in some way or shape, or, I don't know any specifics. I have suspicions, but I don't want to name them.
Right.
All right? And they, all of a sudden, you see rulings that are so pro-Jude Epstein and so pro the plaintiff. See, Jude Epstein is foreclosing on property taxes and WPCA taxes. And according to what Judge Hall said, they are not debts. And in order to be to have a standing in the bankruptcy court, you have to be a creditor. So if you're not a creditor, you didn't lend any money, then you have no business in the bankruptcy court. You shouldn't have any standing. But they're ignoring that. Judge Manning ignores that. Okay?
Right. So what he's saying is when you have a lien, you're not a creditor.
No. And there's a state statute. It's under Title Section 12. It's called 12-181. Okay?
Yeah, see, you know your stuff.
Who, me?
You know your stuff.
I've been around a little bit, and I know these people, and a lot of folks in the state legislature talk to me, and a lot of law firms talk to me. So, but anyway, 181 says, 12-181 says, you cannot charge legal fees in the process of foreclosing on a tax lien, because you are not a sovereign entity. Only a sovereign entity, which is a municipality, can charge legal fees in the collection of those cases.
So why do they do it? If that's a fact, then what's the problem?
Because they totally ignore. Walter Spader just had a client. There's a case called Gerald Gray. Okay.
Yep.
Gerald Gray owned a property on the shore, on the water in Stratford. Very valuable property. The land alone is worth $250,000. Okay? Her mother and her had built up a health food store called Nature's Foods in Stratford on Barnum Avenue. They sold that property and the business for $5 million several years ago. And then her mother was put under conservatorship, and that they ate up her assets. And Gerald Gray has been fighting tooth and nail against the town of Stratford, and there's a law firm representing the town of Stratford that Walter Spader authorized a $45,000 legal fee, okay, on a foreclosure where the foreclosure legal fees are usually $1,800 for tax liens. And he authorized $45,000, and it was obscene. It's so in your face. Again, this is another one that the feds ought to look into. It's Gerald Gray, Gray.
Okay. So now, what do you think we should take away from this?
All right. Well, first and foremost, you got to get to the heart of the matter, and Jude Epstein is the easiest target. Jude Epstein and Danny Ventura. Those are the two people that you can crack open because they are responsible. By the way, when I was in Jude Epstein's office, okay, they billed me $400 for something, and I went in there and I wrote a check for it. But what I was amazed in talking to Judah, I said, Judah, apparently you're doing well. What do you have, about 1,500 properties? Because he's talked to me and brag about how many homes he acquired through foreclosure. And he said, no, I have 6,500. Okay, and I said, 6,500? That's huge. He goes, hey, he had cases on his desk that were so big.
Well, he's not a judge.
Let me tell you something. He owns judges, okay? And he and Ed Marcus, at one stage, a lot of people, the city of Bridgeport Common Council was voting to try to eliminate Jude Epstein as being the sole representative in foreclosures for tax liens in Bridgeport. Outside party, okay? And they had a hearing in the Common Council. Guess who showed up?
Jude Epstein. Ed Marcus.
And guess who showed up? Russ Liskoff. All the attorneys in the city attorney's office showed up to support Jude Epstein. Okay?
So they're all in his back pocket. They're all in his back pocket.
Everybody. I remember a member of the staff at the.
So what part of this audio can I use, or should I just use it as a reference?
You can edit it. I mean, the Patrick Carroll, the attorneys that I mentioned, you can talk. Absolutely, you can use most of it.
Okay.
I mean, I've been very careful not to say anything about people who are innocent or not involved or don't know anything.
Right. It's just a question of why one person would have the right to do what the municipality has a right to do, only the municipality, and then get a judgment to collect what is not a tax.
And Judge Hall is clear, and you'll see that in the Weldon case.
All right.
I mean, she was very specific. She said, property taxes and municipal taxes are not debts. And by the way, she also said that Connecticut State Statute 12-195F, which is the assignment clause that they've been using to assign these tax liens to third-party debt collectors, she said that does not apply to property taxes or municipal taxes. Okay, which is the WPCA tax liens as well.
Well, that's what I don't understand, How can they give immunity?
Yeah, but wait a minute. It's the judges in the bankruptcy court. I can give you some very specific information on that, which I'll email to you.
Okay.
I have evidence to prove that the bankruptcy judge, Manning, recently ignored all that. Manning has one objective, and that is that if you owe money, either you restructure it and pay it back, or you relieve the stay and allow a foreclosure to go through. Then that goes to Walter Spader or to Cardoni, or now they have a new judge, who seems to be, I don't know her, but I checked her background. She seems to be honest. Her name is Elizabeth Stewart.
Oh, Elizabeth Stewart Tor has a problem with Elizabeth Stewart, and so does Ethan Book.
Yeah, well, I know for, again, you know who the chief judge is in the foreclosure docket, right?
No.
Walter Spader.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That I knew.
Who's the presiding judge in the housing docket? Walter Spader. He sits on 2 dockets as chief judge.
The housing docket, which, do you know who Cedar Court is owned by Arthur Greenblatt?
No, I don't know.
Okay, well, he's in Norwalk. He's claiming he's bought Connecticut judges and politicians. He owns 20,000 apartments. This guy.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but they're in all different states. So the fact is now he's crying. See, this is what happened. We had a school that was in disrepair. He bought it. He turned it into
moderate income housing.
He turned it into 98 apartments.
Right.
He leased them out.
He got HUD funds to do it.
And he got a grant. Right. Then he tried to sell it. And keep the grant. He tried to sell the property, but unfortunately the HUD owns 1/3 now and the state owns 1/3. So how could he sell his 1/3 and not sell the other parts?
I don't know. I have no idea.
And how does he keep the money that was a grant from Congressman Himes?
Well, that's something to think about, isn't it? You should ask Himes.
Yeah, we should. And I will.
Now, and here's something else. Okay? Casanova Creek. I have a background on him you should know.
Okay.
Casanova Creek was founded by 2 individuals who were former vice presidents for Wachovia Bank. Wachovia Bank was acquired by Wells Fargo. These 2 vice presidents were laid off. One of them his name is Billy Green, and the other one is Bill Corhane, Corhane. Okay? They
Yeah.
are the true entities behind Casanova Creek. Now, they have been in the investment banking and debt part of the banking process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they were not lenders. All right?
Okay.
But they knew how to raise money. So they discovered the 18% interest that is being charged, and it's compounded, by the way. The interest, when the interest accrues, the interest becomes part of the principal. So you look at, I'm a banker, so just so that you know, and you look at the accrued interest, it's like 42%. Okay?
Yeah.
Because it's compounded.
Yeah.
So now this is why. So I heard from Billy Green himself. I called him one day in my capacity as a banker, and I said, I've seen your business model, and I'm impressed. And he goes, yeah. He says, we were together at Wachovia. Tell me the whole story. And he says, we realized that when people were getting 3% interest for their money in banks, that we could raise money through these people, give them 6% of the 18% that we charged, right?
Yeah.
They got 6%, and they kept 12%.
Yep.
Okay? So that was a sweet deal. And he says, and we keep the properties. Okay?
And they get the property for nothing.
Exactly. So it got very sweet. Now, I found out recently from a very high official in the banking department that William Tong was aware of this. Okay?
Wonderful.
And the fact that they were keeping the properties, the foreclosure mills. That's how Jude Epstein started to accrue like 7,000 units of housing. Okay? And when I also found out in the front page of a publication that Jude, for luxury condominiums in Florida, in Miami Beach, okay, it's called the Fendi, F-E-N-D-I, Chateau resident condominiums. Okay? They're in the millions of dollars. Judah is not listed as being a class action attorney from New York who had made his money in class actions. Judah wouldn't know a class action if it hit him in the head.
No.
Okay?
Right.
So he was covering himself because.
So let's get back to Tong. Get back to Tong. So Tong's aware.
This is important. This is important.
Go ahead.
This is important.
Go ahead.
Okay. Remember, Tong has to run for office in I think this coming cycle.
Yes.
In 2020, was it 2024?
2022. I think 2022 he's running.
Yeah, he's running for re-election.
Right.
Tong knows about this, and I was told this particular individual called me to tell me that a new law was being signed by the governor, Lamont, to prohibit foreclosure attorneys of owning these properties. Okay? And it was going to be managed by the banking department. So my next question to this individual was, well, what is your enforcement rights? He says, we don't have any enforcement rights. Okay? We can only tell them that we know that they can't do it, they have to stop. And by the way, Jude Epstein got one of those letters that you needed to be, if you're doing collections in Connecticut, you have to register as a debt collector. And he didn't want to do it, but the banking commissioner forced him to do it, which means that they're under all the consumer laws, which the banking department has the right to initiate legal action through the Attorney General's office. And I made a point of saying, does William Tong know this? And he said he's very aware of it. And I said, I know William Tong pretty well. He said, yes, I know, he knows you. And I said, well, why isn't William doing something about this? And that subject was dropped. Next thing I know is I'm getting calls from William Tong's senior advisor.
Who's that?
A gentleman by the name of Justin. And
yeah, Tong's never called me back.
Well, Tom won't call you back, but he'll have one of his aides call you. In this case, there's a guy named Joseph Chambers. Okay, he's an assistant. I think he's an associate attorney general. His job is to enforce the debt collectors, and he hasn't done anything. Okay, I tried to get a hold of him. I was talking to a person, my contact at the banking department, and he told me, he says, I'm going to make sure that you can talk to Joseph Chambers. And so I had Joseph Chambers and his email address already, had his phone number. So I called him. He never called me back.
What's his email?
Excuse me?
What's his email address?
I'll give it to you. I'll send it to you by text.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
There's so much that they're not doing. They're looking the other way. Okay? Keep in mind that in order for Tong to be effective, he needs the support, or to be reelected, he needs the support.
Oh, here he is. Joseph J. Chambers, Deputy Associate Attorney General. Connect. I just connected with him.
There you go.
He looks like Howdy Doody.
Well, another one of his, he had an associate there that was another
Here, I can send him a message.
I'm sorry?
I just connected with him. I can send him a message on LinkedIn.
Yeah, sure. Other than Chambers, there was another guy who just became a judge from the Attorney General's office. He was just made a judge.
Who's that?
Hang on a minute. I'll get to you.
Don't tell me Stephen Conover.
No.
By the way, I wrote a 105-page complaint to the State Banking Commission in 2005.
His name is Matthew Budzik, B-U-D-Z-I-K. Became a judge. He and Matthew and Joseph were pretty much partners working together, and they got involved. They made their name in the $25 billion settlement. They represented Connecticut. And Matthew took advantage of it and became a judge. And Chambers is a monkey, and he hasn't done anything since that settlement. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, I wrote a letter to Governor Malloy when I discovered the connection between Patrick Carroll, Chase Rogers, the Judicial Institute, and how her group, the Judicial Institute, was writing the audit letter for the state of Connecticut for Patrick Carroll. He was required by the Treasury Department to get an independent audit letter. Independent.
Okay, so hold on. That's very critical. Hold on. That's critical.
Okay.
What you're saying is the audit letter
was written by the Judicial Institute, for which Chase Rogers was the chairman. They had a little office of two individuals out of Virginia that would write these audit letters for Patrick Carroll to submit to the state legislature in Connecticut.
So Patrick Carroll rigged it.
Cook the books, man. And it gets better. I had a meeting with a state senator, Gary what's Gary's last name? Winfield.
Right.
Okay. Senator Winfield and I met at a little restaurant in New Haven where I presented him with evidence of public corruption within the judicial system. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he was very interested, and he said, well, I'm going to call, Chief Justice Rogers. Instead, he called Patrick Carroll. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't reach him. I had the guy's cell phone number. I had, his home phone number, his work number. And all of a sudden, he wasn't responding to me, and I wondered why. So one day, I saw him at the judicial hearing, and I asked him. I said, hey, what happened to you? He says, well, I referred it over to Patrick Carroll. He told me to stay away from it, that they would handle it. I said, really? And so you stayed away, right? You're going to the chief criminal, and you're telling him that he's telling you not to get involved.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So he's controlled by Patrick Carroll as well. Okay? And Steve Stastrom is the deputy chair of the Judiciary Committee. And guess where Steve Stastrom works?
Where?
At the, what's Steve's law firm? His Pullman and Comley.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, okay.
You're kidding me.
Well, I'll tell you in a minute, yeah.
I know them.
Yeah, he is. Pullman and Comley, exactly. And guess who the managing partner of Pullman and Comley is?
Who?
John Stastrom, his uncle.
No way.
And guess who he is? Chairman of the Democratic Party in Connecticut. Current.
Who is the chairman of the Democratic Party?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. That's today. It's Nancy DiNardo. But Stastrom handles all of the... Pullman and Comley gets about $2 million in income from the city of Bridgeport for when they raise funds on notes. They issue notes.
Oh, I see.
Debt.
Municipal debt.
Municipal debt. And Steve's uncle is that guy. Okay?
Steve Stastrom's uncle is John Stastrom.
Yes.
And John Stastrom's at... Hold on.
Pullman and Comley.
Yeah, Pullman and Comley, who is the municipal debt underwriter.
There you go. Now you see the connection?
Right, so they're... Oh, my God. Okay, so they're all in power and they're all scratching each other's back.
There you go. And now Steve went from being elected as a representative, as a matter of fact, he's my state rep, to
Steve is your state rep?
Yeah.
So what division is that?
I don't know. Same as Marilyn Moore.
Oh, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, well, she's a piece of work.
I've known Marilyn since third grade.
I introduced myself to her twice in an elevator in Stamford, and she denied being who she was. She said, "No, I'm not Marilyn Moore." I said, "Yes, you are."
I love it. Are you serious?
Well, we were at the barrier meetings. You know what that means?
No.
Okay, a kid was tasered to death. She went to the meeting. The family got $30 million from Lamont because the cops that tasered him to death said no tasers were used.
Wow.
Yeah. So Colangelo wrote to Tong. Tong, I guess, handled the whole thing with Colangelo, who got a kickback.
I don't know. I can only tell you the only people that I know are getting kickbacks. City Attorney's Office. Oh, before I forget, a more or less senior official of the City Attorney's Office goes to the Koskoff Christmas party every year. Are you familiar with the Koskoff?
Koskoff and Beater?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an injury attorney.
It's a what?
Injury attorney.
Yeah, medical malpractice.
Right.
Okay, they're not political, but they have this big Christmas party, and everybody who's anybody in legal goes to these things. Very few judges, but once in a while some do. And,
next time you hear of the party, I'll put my best suit on and just show up.
Well, yeah, I'm always invited, but you know, it's anyway. Let me share this with you. I was talking to this particular individual who's an attorney in the City Attorney's Office, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, you've been there for what? How many years have you been working in Bridgeport?" And I said, "Like 40 years?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, you know, you got a hell of a pension." He goes, "Lou, the money's too good. The money's too good." And I'm thinking, I said, "What are you making?" I got your salary. Well, you got your health. You got to worry about getting old. You're gonna die on the job. He says, "Lou, the money's too good." And I'm going, what is this guy telling me? You know?
Yeah.
The money from Jude Epstein is too good. That's what it is.
Maybe.
No question. He's the chief supporter financially of these people.
It's kind of scary that they would be sucking on the blood of Americans to do this.
You're surprised?
It's like they're a bunch of vampires.
It's not limited to Democrats either. Money has no political affiliation.
No, if they gotta grease the other 10%, then that's what they gotta grease.
They do, you know. I had a case recently where the ranking member of the aging committee for the state legislature.
Okay.
I testified at a hearing, and he's Republican. And he called me after the hearing, and he said, "You know, I can't believe what's going on." And he says, "But you're very credible. Maybe you can help one of my constituents." And I said, "What is the problem?" So he explained to me that a family who had owned a farm in Woodmont for over 100 years was losing their home for taxes. And I said, "You got to be kidding." He says, "There's no mortgage, but there's taxes, and this law firm is taking it, and they're going to auction off the house on the steps of the courthouse at a certain date in the future." And it was like 2 months or something. And I said, "You got to be kidding." So anyway, he put me in touch with this woman. I had a long conversation, and I told her, I said, "You need a good attorney. Somebody's going to stand up for you, but you need to understand that this corruption is like a never-ending, ongoing process." And she did. And so anyway, she found a probate attorney that represented her father for many, many years. And he got involved, and he put an end to it, saved the house. And this guy couldn't say enough nice things about me, you know? So I think I did okay there. And
you got to wonder with Mr. Carroll, who seems to never... You know what? Let me call him with you on the phone so you can hear him give me the runaround.
Who, Pat Carroll?
Yeah. Sit right there. I want to join you with him.
Sure, I'll put it on mute.
Okay. Hold on, Patrick. Hold on, I gotta find his number. I call him occasionally. He takes my call, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Chief Court Administrator, right?
Yeah, I gotta get back to hang on a minute. Okay, just give me a second. I gotta get back. If I look at it, don't go away.
Okay, I got it here. I found him.
Okay.
Hold on a second.
I'm muting.
Telephone. Hold on. Telephone. Chief Court Admin Patrick Carroll. He's never answered a single question I have ever asked him. There we go. Hold on. This is not his website. Hold on. Back. Family support. Okay, here we go. Add a call.
Chief Court Administrator's Office.
Hi, it's Johnny Flynn, and I still haven't had any answer to the multiple problems I've had with my 350 dismissals of my court cases in a row. I've not received any admissions, no interrogatories, no requests for production, no subpoenas, no nothing. And we're at the point where we're out $50 million. If you look at the cases, I spoke to Mr. Carroll, I guess, 2 or 3 times in the last 3 months. I need an answer.
So you spoke to Judge Carroll, you said in the last...
Yeah, you can. I called here. I called this number. You guys connected me to him. He got on with you there.
Okay, I don't recall you speaking to Judge Carroll, but if you said you did, then...
Yeah, I did. Actually, I recorded it and I put it on YouTube. So, yeah, you can watch it if you want. It's still there. But
Okay.
I have a problem, and it's about money laundering, and it's enormous. So now I'm finding out that people like Mr. Pritchard in the Stanford Superior Court just lost a $3.5 million house that had no mortgage. And now my friend Tor, who I spoke to today, who lives in Bridgeport, just got evicted from his house, which he has no mortgage either. He inherited his house from his mother. And it turns out that Judge Spader is behind every single corruption that we can find. And when you look at the people calling me about the videos I've been making, they're all saying Patrick Carroll is the top of the food chain. So let's put him on.
I'm sorry, Judge Carroll is not here today.
Really? Well, I have written 60 complaints, of which there's no resolution. I have 32 complaints about attorneys outstanding, never been answered. We have multiple ethics violations, complaints I've written. And for you to say that he's not here today? Really?
Saying that he's not in Hartford today.
Well, how come he's never called me back? How come he's never emailed me back? I have sent you guys 50 emails. 50.
Okay, so you just told me not 2 minutes ago that you spoke to Judge Carroll 2 or 3 times
I did.
in the last couple months, and
Yeah.
now you just said that...
Well, he didn't answer any questions. You couldn't find my complaints. If you recall, that's what he said. We looked thoroughly through the complaints, Mr. Flynn. We found 3. Really? 3 out of 60 is not exactly a good track record. I filed a complaint that multiple hitmen were hired to kill me and my family members. And I spoke to them because I confronted them. And it turns out that same hitman who was sent to kill me was sent to kill a cop named Dealey and sent to kill a cop named Lamb. All referenced in State versus Riddle. If you read the transcript, you guys cross-examine the confidential informant who says he gets paid to kill people. I said, really? So if I have the transcript of that, and so do you guys, I'm wondering, how is it possible that I have 1,300 cash stolen checks in a row? 1,300.
I don't have an answer to that. I'm sorry.
Well, you're the chief court administrator.
No, I am not the chief court administrator.
Yeah, he is.
I work in the chief court administrator's office.
Yeah, he is. You. I say you. I don't mean you personally. I don't even know your name.
Okay.
Unless you tell me what it is. What is it?
No, I don't.
You don't want to say. You don't want to say.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, you're aware that there's 500,000 felonies in Norwalk, Connecticut that the mayor of Connecticut is sitting on. I filed a 105-page complaint with the State Banking Commission. 105 pages.
Wow.
In 2005, and I still don't have an answer. That's 16 years ago.
That's incredible.
It is incredible that a judge and the chief court administrator, who I guess works with, I have a long list of, hold on, I can tell you what the relationships are. What is he, COO?
What do you mean COO?
What is he COO of?
Who?
Mr. Carroll.
He's not COO.
Yes, he is.
Court administrator.
Oh, yeah.
COO.
Well, you tell me what kind of organization he's running. What role does Jude Epstein play? In the corporation that they're running? Ed Marcus, what role does he play?
I have no idea who that is.
That's impossible. Okay.
That is not. I have no idea who Ed Marcus is.
Well, here we go. Who's Billy Green? Who's Casanova Creek?
I have no idea who Billy Green is.
Well, it's a foreclosure mill. They got all the city legal counsel people of the city of Bridgeport giving Epstein the power to collect municipal tax liens, which he has immunity from Judge Carroll for. Carroll gave the foreclosure mill immunity, while all these things lead back to a bunch of kingpins. Yeah, I'd like an answer. There's a whole chart of how this organization works. Let me talk to Elizabeth Bazzuto.
I'm sorry she's not available either.
How about Honorable Aaron Mint?
He's retired.
Why is he in the screen still?
Well, he technically is a judge trial referee, so...
Oh, he's not retired. Oh, you mean he's retired, but he's not retired? I guess you just say whatever you can to get through to the next question. I'd really like an answer as to the 50 emails I sent you guys last about corruption haven't been answered.
Who did you send them to? Who did you send them
The
to?
Chief Court Administrator. Office of Chief Court Administrator.
Okay.
Why, is that not your email?
No, that's our general email box.
Okay, your general email box has 100 emails from me. Maybe I could get an answer. I guess we're not going to get anywhere. Okay.
I don't have.
Well, here I go. This one is number 610. So when you go to my YouTube page later today, you can hear yourself not answer any questions. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Well, that's the chief court administrator. And a guy who I don't even know called to give me the whole connection to Mr. Carroll. And here he's calling back. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that was Bizzuto.
You think that was Bizzuto?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You know, I'm still recording? You think that was Bizzuto? Should I call her back?
No. Let it go. I think you did enough there. I think you made your point. And she was elusive, and she wasn't going to commit to anything.
Right. That was Bizzuto. Wait till she goes and sees that we know who it was.
Yeah, I think it was Bizzuto. I think it was Bizzuto. I'm not sure. But, you know, it could have been just an assistant. You know, it could have been anybody else, but...
Yeah. Well, who's not there on a two...
It's kind of funny. She says she doesn't know any of these people. Yes, she does. You know?
Of course she does. She takes their call all day long.
Yeah.
Or she connects them to the computer where they're, telecommunicating all day long about what rules to, who to screw in the courtroom, no?
Yeah.
Hey, don't let that kid Johnny Flynn get anywhere. Yeah.
Well, at least they took your call.
They did.
Yeah. No, that's a plus.
Well, for her not to, if that's not the normal girl, because they all know my name.
Yeah.
That one didn't know my name, I guess. She never even asked me my name, did she?
No.
Wow. So maybe she doesn't know. No, but I send them an email every day.
Gotta love it.
So here we go. This is an hour and 32 minutes. I'm going to send it to her. Have a great day. If you think of anything that's helpful, send me whatever you think we can use, okay?
Yeah, I got a bunch of cases.
Good.
Are you familiar with an attorney by the name of Andre Kyle?
Nope.
You should be.
Okay.
Okay?
Keep on piling it up.
No, because he is... Let me tell you what his game is.
What's his game?
Very simple. He has a... he is an attorney. He's African American. Actually, he's Haitian, but he materialized in Bridgeport a few years ago, and basically started to solicit business. He would stay out in the lobby, or in the one during a short counter.
Yep.
And then he would get. He would start asking people, look, I can help you, I can save your house, I can do this, and they would say, we don't have any money, all our money's taken up with another 2 or 3 other attorneys that took our money and did nothing. And he said, well, okay, well, you can pay me so much a month. I'll take $200, $300 a month, whatever you can afford, and pay me in cash. And okay, so these poor people just went along with it, and next thing you know, he has what is the word I'm looking for? Okay, he is now collecting quite a bit of money in the course of a month. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And these poor people, when they go ahead and try to ask him, what have you done? Before they know, in the blink of an eye, they're before the judge, and the houses are being foreclosed on usually on a strict foreclosure, not a foreclosure by sale.
Right.
As they run up the bill, Jude Epstein will, on a stroke of a pen, will increase your tax debt from, like in Moore's case, Tor's case, it went from $6,000 to $95,000. Okay? And the average individual assumes that, that that it's legal. They don't even think about fighting it, okay? So, I asked Tor, I said, do you have a statement of the facts? Do you have the actual, do you know how much money you paid? He paid $40,000. He's got receipts for $40,000 to Jude Epstein. And just when he thought he wanted his liens back, he paid for them. I want my liens, okay? And guess what? He didn't get them. Instead, they took his house in a strict foreclosure, and they went and I'm sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on something here.
Yeah.
They took his property in a strict foreclosure, and they were
reinstated the liens.
The liens, because he demanded his liens. The same thing with Weldon in this case with.
I don't understand how they can do that.
Because they're the judges, and they can do whatever they want. Whatever Jude Epstein wants, Judah gets. Okay? That's the problem.
Whatever Judah Epstein wants, Judah Epstein gets. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe he's got John Patrick Carroll in his back pocket.
I'm sure. Well,
hold on. I'm about to publish this, so let me publish it.
Oh, wait. There's one more.
Yeah.
Who he has, according to him, I was sitting in his office, and I told him he was going to go to jail. I said, Judah, you're going to go to jail. He says, nobody's touching me. He says, I'm untouchable. He says, I got protection. I said, wow, how? And he says, see that up there? See that guy up there? That guy is my son's godfather. You know who it was?
Nope.
Senator Joseph Lieberman.
Aha!
Okay?
Aha!
And you may want to, and supposedly he's got two sons. Supposedly one of his sons is Joseph Lieberman, and the other son is the godfather is supposed to be Blumenthal.
Hold on a second. Say it
I
again.
don't know if that's true. Okay.
No, repeat what you said.
I know. He says that Lieberman is his son's godfather. That
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
Okay. About Blumenthal, I have no idea. Actually, I put in a call to Lieberman's office, and I left him a question. You know.
So you mean to say that Judah Epstein's kids have godfathers who basically are on the Senate?
Powerful people in the Senate. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay.
Supposedly, I again.
Who knows?
That I don't know. I do know. I saw a picture of Joe Lieberman holding his son as a child on his lap. So.
Oh, so that's possible.
Very possible.
Now the question is, with Lieberman out, who took over for Lieberman?
When Joe left, Chris
Murphy.
what's his name? Murphy. Yeah, I think he took over.
Yeah, but he's an idiot, so he can't control what only a Richard Blumenthal could control.
Blumenthal's a powerful guy.
No doubt about it. All right.
So anyway, I hope this helps.
Oh, I'm sure it will, because it answers a lot of questions in my mind about how Carroll is beholden to certain judges who are in charge of the foreclosure mill. The Connecticut foreclosure mill is very important.
No, it's the other way around. They're beholden to Carroll.
Well, he's benefiting somehow.
That is a matter of the feds starting to investigate Carroll's finances. You can't do it. I can't do it.
Okay. Well, hopefully I'll send this to the feds. I can have a way of sending a video to the feds.
I think you should.
I will. I have a connection. I'll tell her today. Let me go, though.
Take care.
Pleasure. Bye. Okay, so we're going to send this to the feds. We're at 1 hour and 40 minutes. That was longer than I thought. This is a guy who called me in Wendy's. He's like, Johnny, call me when you get home, and I'll lay down how Judge Carroll is beholden to the foreclosure mill. Okay. Thanks a lot. Flynn 2022, we're sending this to the feds, folks. Have a great day.